You know, we can hear him. You know, here.
Okay. 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 Appreciate that. All right. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
The three new council person.
No.
Chip. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Chris, man.
Who's 6 o'clock? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our Tuesday, April the 27th City Council meeting. I now call this meeting to order. Our Pledge of Allegiance and invocation tonight will be by Councilman Darren Ledford.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman, with all due respect, I move the agenda.
Thank you, sir. We have no special presentations tonight. Could I get a motion on the minutes, please? Okay, we have a motion on the minutes to approve with a proper second. Any questions or comments before we vote? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Coonrod, Councilman Byrd,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dotley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Burrs, Councilman Hister,
Yes.
Councilman Ledford,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hill,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Henderson,
Yes.
9 yeses.
Yeah, ayes have it. Council, let me remind you, even during your, while you vote, to speak directly into your mic so that those that are joining us on the Zoom can hear us. We have no ordinances on final reading this afternoon. We do have one ordinance on first reading, a planning item. Madam Clerk, if you would, please, 6A.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance, so as to rezone property located at 4200 Willard Lane from R3 MD moderate density zone and R4 special zone to R3 residential zone subject to certain conditions.
All right, is the applicant with us in the audience or on Zoom? Okay, I see him on Zoom. Is there any opposition to this planning item in the audience or with us on Zoom this afternoon? Councilman Hester, the applicant is here. I'm seeing no opposition on Zoom or in the audience, sir.
Okay, for point of clarification, can you give us a certain conditions?
I'm from you from the Planning Commission version, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. There are two conditions that are recommended for this ordinance. One is a maximum density of 15 dwelling units per acre. And the second condition is no more than 5 attached units in one single massed townhome building.
Thank you. I'm ready to prove it.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve with a proper second. Questions or comments before we vote? If not, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Hill, Yes. Councilman Ledford. Councilman Hester.
Yes.
Councilwoman Burrs.
Yes.
Councilwoman Dotley.
Yes.
Councilman Byrd.
Yes.
Councilwoman Coonrod.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Smith.
Yes.
Chairman Henderson.
Yes,
9 yeses.
so moved. Sir, up here in the front row in the red seat, could I ask you to move back to one of the other seats? I'm not sure how you got past our barricades there, but thank you, sir. Well, that's reserved for our media back there in the back. Just any of these seats that doesn't have a white piece of paper on them would be fine.
No.
Okay. Thank you. Now moving to resolutions, Madam Clerk, if there are no objections from the council, I'd like to take 7A, B, and C together, if there are no objections. Okay,
Item A, a resolution authorizing the mayor to retroactively enter into a memorandum of understanding MOU with the Chattanooga Community Kitchen and pay for COVID-19 related shelter expenses from April 2020 in the amount of $38,445.26 with the reimbursable through the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA. Item B, a resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Economic and Community Development to apply for and if awarded, accept emergency solutions grant funds from the Tennessee Housing Development Agency, THDA, for approximately $161,250. Item C, a resolution authorizing the acceptance of Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, funds administered by the United States Department of Homeland Security declared on April 2, 2020 to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic, DR 4514TN.
Councilwoman Burrs.
Move approval.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve items 7A, B, and C with a proper second. Questions or comments before we vote? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Coonrod,
Yes.
Councilman Byrd,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dotley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Burrs,
Yes.
Councilman Hester,
Yes.
Yes.
Councilman Ledford, Councilwoman Hill,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Henderson,
Yes.
9 yeses.
Motion carries 9-0. Now, council moving into Public Works and Transportation, Madam Clerk, with no objections, I'd like to take 7D and E, please.
Item D, a resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to amend the annual end date of May 14, 2021 to match the software year end date of September 30, 2021 of an agreement with Club Profit System to provide city golf courses with POS and reservation software. Item E, a resolution authorizing payment to Tennessee American Water Company through June 30, 2021 for disconnection fees resulting from delinquent sewer charges for a total amount not to exceed $75,000.
Councilman Ledford.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor to approve items 7D and E with a proper second. Questions or comments before we vote? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Hill,
Yes.
Councilman Ledford,
Yes.
Councilman Hester,
Yes.
Councilwoman Burrs,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dotley,
Yes.
Councilman Byrd,
Yes.
Councilwoman Coonrod,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Henderson,
Yes.
9 yeses.
Motion to approve 7D and E carries. Now, council, if you would pull out your purchase items for this afternoon. Mr. Vice Chair, Madam Clerk, would you bring in Mr. Sammons? You got it? Okay. Good evening, Mr. Sammons.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of council. We have two purchase items this evening for your approval, and we also have one RFP recommendation for approval. Starting first with the purchases, both coming from the Waste Resource Division of Public Works. The first item is overhead crane maintenance and repair services being awarded to, excuse me, Chattanooga Crane and Hoist LLC for an estimated annual cost of $100,000. And the last purchase item for window tinting and repair services being awarded to Quality Glass for an estimated annual cost of $125,000. And that concludes the new purchases for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Sammons. What is the pleasure of the council?
Move approval. Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve tonight's purchase items with a proper second. Any questions or comments before we vote? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Coonrod,
Yes.
Councilman Byrd,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dotley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Burrs,
Yes.
Councilman Hester,
Yes.
Councilman Ledford,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hill,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Henderson,
Yes,
9 yeses.
so moved. Mr. Sammons, anything else from you, sir?
Yes, sir. We have one RFP recommendation. The following recommendation for approval as a competitive seal proposal instead of a competitive seal bid. It comes from the Water Quality Division of Public Works for GIS Geospatial Services.
Councilman Ledford.
Move to approve the RFP request. Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve with a proper second. Any questions or comments before we vote? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Hill,
Yes.
Councilman Ledford, Councilman Hester,
Yes.
Councilwoman Burrs,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dotley,
Yes.
Councilman Byrd,
Yes.
Councilwoman Coonrod,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Henderson,
Yes,
9 yeses.
and that motion is approved. Thank you, Mr. Sammons.
Thank you very much. You have a good evening.
Mr. Vice Chair, you can excuse our guest. We now move to committee reports, which we only have at this time 3 committee chairs. So I'm going to call on those for the report. Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Earlier today, we discussed 3 items in legislative committee. We discussed the Juneteenth ordinance, which the council approved to go on our 2-week agenda. We discussed a Parks Master Plan resolution that this council or previous council had tabled. And there is interest of bringing that off of the table this evening in other business. And we also discussed revisions to the EGG, which is the Employee Information Guide. And the council agreed that that item will be placed on the agenda 2 weeks from this evening as well. No further report.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Ledford, Planning and Zoning.
Planning and zoning will meet next Tuesday on May the 4th. Be with you.
Thank you. Budget and Finance, Councilwoman Burrs.
No reports, sir.
All right, very well, thank you. Council, and in aware of a report, after talking with some staff and some council members, and it's my hope that we can all get fully vaccinated during the month of May. I think we will continue the hybrid practice through May and resume our strategic planning in June in the Collins Conference Room as council members requested. So hybrid through May, and then our our strategic planning can resume in the Collins Conference Room in June. All right, now moving on to other business. We do have some IDB appointments this afternoon. Council, if you would just like to raise your hand and make those nominations. Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to nominate or appoint my.
I
Gordon
think you're
Parker.
you're nominating, sir.
Thank you. Gordon Parker to the IDB, please.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a nomination on the floor to nominate or to elect Gordon Parker to the IDB board with a proper second. Questions or comments before we vote? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Hill,
Yes.
Councilman Ledford,
Yes.
Councilman Hester,
Yes.
Councilwoman Burrs, Councilwoman Dotley,
Yes.
Councilman Byrd,
Yes.
Councilwoman Coonrod,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Henderson,
Yes,
9 yeses.
motion carries. Councilman or Vice Chair Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There was a question brought to me earlier regarding the term expiration of the individual currently holding the seat. So at this time, I am going to hold my nomination until next week so that I can get some clarification, sir.
Very well. Thank you. Councilwoman Dotley.
Yes, I would like to nominate Patrick Sharpley to the IDB Board.
Second.
All right, we have a nomination on the floor for Patrick Sharpley with a proper second. Questions or comments before we vote? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Coonrod,
Yes.
Councilman Byrd,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dotley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Burrs, Councilman Hester,
Yes.
Councilman Ledford,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hill,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Henderson,
Yes,
9 yeses.
so moved. And council, I'm going to wait as well till I can have a resume submitted to each council person before I make a nomination for my appointment. All right, any other business at this time? Councilwoman Coonrod.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move the Parks Plan from the table.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to take the Parks Plan off the table with a proper second. Any questions or comments before we vote on this item? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Hill,
Yes.
Councilman Ledford,
Yes.
Councilman Hester,
Yes.
Councilwoman Burrs, Councilwoman Dotley,
Yes.
Councilman Byrd,
Yes.
Councilwoman Coonrod,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Henderson,
Yes,
9 yeses.
so moved. It is removed from the table. Mr. Attorney?
I think we should put it on the agenda next week, just so you've got notice to the public that it's going on. Do it tonight.
Well, I think we would be better off doing it next week, just so we have notice for the public. Is council good with that? Thank you. All right, now we come to the time where we recognize persons wishing to address the council. If you are here in the audience and you would like to speak, if you would come to the microphone, or if you are with us on Zoom and you have registered to speak on Zoom, would you please raise your hand at this time to let us know you'd like to speak? Anyone in the audience that would like to speak? Okay, I'm not seeing anybody in the audience. Mr. Vice Chair, could you confirm that Marie Mott is in fact registered to speak?
Yes, sir. She has registered.
All right, would you please bring her in? Mr. Attorney, would you read the rules to engage the council? And Mr. IT, would you put 3 minutes on the clock, please?
Yes, sir. At the end of each council business meeting, the chair can recognize members of the public that wish to address the council. Here are your rules. You have to give your name, address, or council district before addressing the council. You can't have more than 3 minutes to speak. Address the council only upon matters within their legislative and quasi-judicial authority and not upon matters which are under the authority of other governmental bodies or agencies. Do not use vulgar or obscene language, nor use the floor to personally attack or personally denigrate others, and address your comments to the council as a whole, and don't make comments directed towards individual council members. Having stated those rules, please go ahead, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Mott, can you hear us?
I sure can. Can you hear me?
All right, if you just give us your name and district number, please. You may begin.
Marie Mott, District 8. Good evening, council. It's a pleasure to be virtually with you all. I just want to start, of course, as I always have, with a quote from someone so important to me, which is Martin Luther King Jr. True compassion is more than flinging a coin to a beggar. It comes to see that an edifice which produces beggars needs restructuring. And the restructuring that Martin Luther King Jr. was talking about is our society. One of the things that I'm most proud of that young African-American, as well as other people of color who came together last summer during 2020 did as a byproduct of protest, is we took that energy and we encouraged our community to come out for the budgeting for outcomes process and make sure that they tell you all, whether you are reelected or newly elected, what we wanted to see happen with our taxpayer dollars. Overwhelmingly, the issues that matter the most to us are homelessness, housing, as well as police. And we have seen this consistency that has happened even up until now, despite the outcome of the George Floyd trial, where Black bodies are still being murdered at the hands of police. It is important, as it was outlined for various different districts, that mental and behavioral health services be given to community members and those calls be diverted from our police into a faction of people who could be trusted and unarmed to serve people in the community and to help them despite various different social problems that they may be having. I am just speaking to you all, whether you are new or not, whether you know me or not, to hold tight to what over 18,000 people said in the budgeting for outcomes process. That was probably one of the most significant budgeting for outcomes processes we've ever had when it came to civic engagement. And so it is a reminder to each one of you, especially District 5, 7, 8, and 9, where primarily African Americans, as well as those who are poor and those who are people of color, exist in this city, that they get the fair shake opportunity, and we have a restructuring of the edifice of our society that benefits all. As always, if no one's taking any time today to let you know you're loved somebody, I love you. Nothing you can do about it. Peace.
All right. Anyone else that has registered to speak on Zoom, if you'd like to speak at this time, would you please raise your hand? One last call for the audience. Anybody in the audience that would like to address the council this afternoon? All right, council, I'm not seeing anyone else that would like to address the council this afternoon.
Move to adjourn.
One second. Councilwoman Coonrod.
My hand was up before the adjournment. I gotta say that. But thank you, Chair. The police is here. Great. I need to ask you a question.
Let
if
me
you don't
ask you
mind,
this.
Chair.
Is it possible to get with him after the a meeting? I mean, is this something that we all need to hear, or is this just a question you have for him?
Yeah, I got a question. I mean, I think it's important for everybody to hear.
Okay. All
Thank
right,
you.
sir.
I mean, it's just 6:20, Chair.
Do what?
It's just 6:20.
I'm sorry, I can't understand you.
It's just 6:20.
That's not the point, ma'am. We've got an agenda that we are following.
Thank you, sir. Wait a minute.
Go ahead.
Phil, attorney, I need to ask the attorney, is there anything in our charter or in our policies that says we have a set time to be done with questions? Also, is there anything in the charter or our policies and rules that says that council members can't ask questions? Am I missing something or?
No, ma'am, but the council chair has the control of the meeting and he sets the agenda per you all's rules. That
Okay,
is part of your rules of procedure.
right. So I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Chair. So it was stated about, and just for my district, because I don't, unless I'm missing something, is there any data or any complaints or anything that says that shows that police are killing Black people in Chattanooga? Do we have that information? Have there been any? It hadn't been done in my district since, George Floyd. I'm just want to know if we have any information reflecting that.
I don't have any data with me. I'd be happy to go back and get some data that I can share with you directly or have somebody share with the council. The biggest problem we have in our community is violence that is Black on Black.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Councilman Byrd.
Thank you, Chair. I see here where we have a public safety meeting coming up on May the 4th.
Let me get with you, I guess, after this meeting.
Okay.
Let's talk about,
Yes, sir.
let's talk about
Thank
it. Thank you. All right, council, I'm seeing no other hands. What is the pleasure of the council? We are adjourned.
Oh, man.